very special guest in the house today. Councilwoman from the 5th District in Kansas City, Missouri. One of them Eagles, baby. Ryana Parks-Shaw is in the house. Ryana.
I actually would have never even dreamed I would be in politics because I actually don't like politics, to be honest. But for me, it's about trying to make a difference. In 2023, we had 182 homicides. That's somebody's baby. That's somebody's son, daughter, aunt, uncle, mom, dad. You know, that it's not just a number. So I tell you what, I am one who is not afraid to tackle a challenge. You know, when the Chiefs go back and win the Super Bowl this year.
Yes.
You know, it's a new season now.
Yes.
We'll be ready next time.
What's good, world? It's your boy, Big Jax, and you are locked inside that KC juice.
Good juice.
That's right. We are so happy to be here today. I got my main man, my partner, my dog, the Stitch Wizard, Heath Porter in the house. Heathen, what it do, bro?
Man, up in here with you, enjoying this thing.
Yes, sir. Hey, make sure y'all go out right now, like this video. I need you to subscribe. I need you to comment. I need you to hit that notification bell so you know when we're putting out new videos. All of that helps us push this out to the world. And it's so important that we get a chance to push this out to the world because we got a very special guest in the house today.
Yes.
Councilwoman from the 5th District?
5th District.
5th District in Kansas City, Missouri. The first black female mayor pro tem in the history of the city of Kansas City, Missouri. One of them Eagles, baby. That's right. My homie, Ryana Parks-Shaw is in the house. Ryana, good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
It is such an honor to have you with us today.
Yes.
You know, we keep it real simple here inside that juice. We want to know about you and your journey. So my first question is always, tell us about your Kansas City roots. Like, what part of town? What elementary school? Like, did you go to church? What church you go to? Just give me the roots of you in Kansas City.
I appreciate it. So thank you first off for having me on. I do want to correct something though, because I believe in you know, making sure we give accurate information.
Absolutely.
So technically, I am not the first African American woman mayor pro tem of Kansas City, because the first Black city councilwoman, Joanne Collins. And at the time, so when she was serving in 1974, 1979, they rotated the mayor pro tem role. So she had her share mayor pro tem and acting mayor while she was the pro tem. So I just want to make sure I give her props because it is her shoulders of which I stand.
Absolutely.
So
much respect.
Yeah, much respect to her.
Yes.
So my roots, born and raised here in Kansas City. Went to so I was first born in the 3rd District. Went to Melcher Elementary School.
Okay.
And my parents actually moved us to out in South Kansas City, and I went to Ingalls Elementary School.
Okay.
Ingalls Elementary School. Yep. Went out there in the 4th grade.
Okay.
And shout out to Miss Aiken. Then went to Smith Hill Middle School, and of course Ruskin Eagles. You already said, yep.
Eagles, baby.
The Eagles. We soaring high. So yeah.
And you know, because we were actually in school together, we were right there together.
Yeah.
I happen to know that you were a tremendous track athlete.
Well, I must say,
Wow.
if I must say a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say, I'm sharing how old I am. So 88, we graduated, and I must say, after all of these years, I still have 3 records on the wall at Ruskin High School. So, yeah.
And you know, since we're talking about that, and I know how that was, at that time at Ruskin, you guys, as the women's track team, had Coach James.
That's right.
Who was so influential, not only in you all lives, but in our lives, even though he didn't coach football.
Yeah.
He could have, but he didn't. But talk a little bit about Reggie James, because whenever I see him, I just saw him last year when we were at Mr. Elliott's funeral.
Yeah.
I sat in the back with Coach James, and we laughed and had a ball. Just talk about Coach James a little bit.
You know, so I can laugh today, but I'm gonna tell you there were many days Coach James had us crying. Coach James didn't play.
No, he did not.
What was funny about him is he would sit there in the lunchroom on purpose to make sure he could watch how we ate. So if he saw us eating a bunch of junk, he would make sure that we had an extra special track practice that day, and let of course we were being thrown up on the sideline, at which it only took 1 or 2 times of doing that, and we learned our lessons. So he was like a second father to us. Really cared about us, and he had an iron fist. But I'm gonna tell you what, we were good.
Yes.
I know that the man knew what he was doing, and while it was hard, we made a lot of he made a lot of champions.
Yes.
It was an honor really to be able to have a coach like him.
Yeah. And I tell people, and we've talked to some other guys as part of the Juice that are from Ruskin, and just a certain level of pride that we all were instilled with, and we still to this day. All of us still, we had a sense of community, I think. And I think there are a lot of people that's looking for community, but we actually had that growing up. Like, we all, right now, we can call each other, and any of us will do whatever we can to help one another right now.
That's true.
So
that is so true.
That was a beautiful thing. And I think that success at that time was part of it. We had a lot of success in track and football and basketball. Like, we were right there, and I think that was part of what it was that kind of made us, that brought us together, and kind of bonded us in a lot of ways.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So after high school, your next move was?
I went to college at Missouri State in Springfield, Missouri, and went there on a track and academic scholarship, and from there went to Southwest Baptist University and got my master's degree there.
Nice.
And so and then started working.
Did you launch in? You didn't go in politics right off.
No, actually, you know what? This whole politics thing really just came about just in recent years. I actually would have never even dreamed I would be in politics, because I actually don't like politics, to be honest. But for me, it's about trying to make a difference and make our city better and being the change that I want to see.
Right.
It's a lot of my career, my professional career is in healthcare. As a healthcare executive, spent a lot of time working with hospice patients and families as their loved ones were transitioning. I think that's special work, and so I'm grateful for the ability to be able to do that, because I feel like it's a gift to me when I'm able to be able to sit with families and help them. It really helps you keep perspective about what really matters in life when you're there and people are taking their last breath. It helps you to keep perspective. So
we both, Heath and I both, have been there dealing with our moms in particular, being in that position. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine whose mom is in that process right now.
I'm sorry.
That's a tough process. Us boys, we love our mamas.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he was just saying that it was just really weighing heavy on him. The fact that his mom was kind of entering into that part of life right now. And talk a little bit more about what you saw and the ways that you were able to impact those families as they're going through that.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's a tough time for families when when their loved one is transitioning. But 85% of the deaths that happen really happen in that way. There's only about 15% of the deaths that happen where you don't have any warning. And every family handles it different. Every individual handles it different. But I tell you, one of the stories, and I still remember back when I was in my 20s, I was mid-20s, actually about 23 years old, and I remember working with a hospice patient who knew that she was dying, so she had a terminal diagnosis, But the thing about her, which I will never forget, and I actually hope I'll have the opportunity to do this one day, she said she wanted to hear what everybody had to say about her. And so she asked us to plan her memorial service so that she could be there. So I had the opportunity to help coordinate that for her and her family.
Wow.
So just imagine she's there and everybody, you know how at the funeral everybody will speak for a couple of minutes to talk about that person.
That 2 minutes.
Yeah, they got that 2 minutes.
I won't be before you very long.
Yeah. So she sat there, and everybody told her how they felt about her, and it obviously was sad in the moment. And at the end, she thanked them and she told them how she felt about them.
Wow.
And she said, when I go, don't cry for me. She said, I have lived a good life. And she said all the things that, you would expect somebody who was grateful for their life. And she said that to her family. And so she did this when she was still really healthy and, not healthy, but still in good mind. So, and was still able to get around and move around. She wanted them to remember her like that, not as, as she continued to go through that process. And so, of course, when she passed away, her family was somewhat sad, but they were grateful for the opportunity that they knew they were able to tell her how they felt about her, and she knew it. And, they were able to have that exchange. So it really made me look at things different. I pray that I have an opportunity to be able to do that, because it was a gift to them, really, to be able to offer that. So anyway, that's one of the stories I'll never forget about one of my hospice families.
Yeah, that is an unbelievably great idea, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the idea that we could come together as a family and say all those things that we said afterwards, but say them to her face,
Right.
while she's still there to enjoy them, that is a wonderful idea. And I'm going to take that to my guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, this is a suggestion for you. Maybe you can get the family to come in for the weekend and y'all do a living memorial service.
That's right. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and that's why you that experience is unlike anything else, and that's great. And so, having spent time there, like you said, you said never that you thought you would end up in politics.
Right. Yeah.
Well, what was the thing? Because you were in a school district? No, where did you start with politics?
No, so where I started was I actually had my first election that I ran for was state representative, but I was not successful. I was about 1.5% or so from the winner, and worked really hard at it, but I was not successful in that. But I actually, it didn't feel like I did a good job, but I felt, I received some calls after the election from many elected officials. And like a couple days later, they were like, hey, you did a really good job. You should run for city council. Because I'm pretty sure, with the numbers that you all were able to present, you should do really well. And I just, wasn't really sure about it at first. But over that next month, thought about it, prayed on it, and decided to go ahead and file and run for city council, and then was obviously successful at that time.
And what year is this?
So that was in 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
So the election for city council was in 2019.
Gotcha.
In April 2019, and then that was the primary, and then my general election was in June of 2019, and I was sworn in August 1st.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I've been in this role now for about 6 years.
Yeah.
What are some of the pitfalls of running a city?
So let me say, as the 5th District Councilwoman, so I am elected to represent, the 5th District, but in 2023, in my second term, so let me just educate your voters a little bit on how Kansas City runs. So we are able to serve 2 4-year terms, but we have to run each time. So, after your first term, you have to run again to get reelected. So, fortunately, I didn't have an opponent in my second race. So, I, obviously was then ultimately reelected in 2023. But the mayor appointed me as the mayor pro tem for this 4-year term now. And in that role, I now serve as it's like a vice mayor. So many people don't know what that means. Ultimately, what that means is when Mayor Quentin Lucas is out of town, or if he's not available, I fill in and preside over our meetings. I do a lot of ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings and things that he is not able to do to represent the city. A lot of proclamations as well, and have had an opportunity to really experience many things. I've been able to represent Kansas City over in China, in Africa, with taking a delegation of folks over there, and so it's really been a rewarding experience. It's a lot of work. But it's an honor to be able to serve Kansas City in this way, trying to make sure that, I put our best foot forward as a city.
Absolutely, and this is such an exciting time for Kansas City right now. Of course, with the World Cup coming at us here real soon next year, and just everything that's gone on, the way the development of downtown has been amazing. I'm so happy. Growing up as kids, we always say they rolled up the sidewalks downtown at 5 o'clock back then.
That's true.
Like it was a ghost town. My mom, actually, speaking of my mom, worked on 12th and McGee at the Kansas City Public Library. Okay. So all those times I would go to work with her, when she was leaving at 5, like everybody was leaving at the same time. But now it's so vibrant. Like you can almost hear it humming when you drive through downtown now. You can hear the hum. It must feel really good also to see the development of the city and how things are coming about,
That's right. I had an opportunity to speak with Mayor Kay Barnes, the former Mayor Kay Barnes, who really, all of downtown is really credited to her, the redevelopment of downtown. I know Congressman Cleaver played an instrumental role in starting that. But definitely, like you said, it was a ghost town back in the day, but now it's just so vibrant. There's so many people there. We've got our streetcar. A lot of economic development has occurred in Kansas City's downtown, created many jobs, many opportunities for Kansas City.
I think sometimes people that don't necessarily frequent downtown a lot right now, or that have an old impression of downtown, I don't think people realize how many people there are that live downtown.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Like that is the key.
Yeah.
Like people have moved back into downtown, and of course that was a bit of a development that was starting to happen all over the country. But I'm glad, like you said, that Kay Barnes, and you have to give it to Kay Barnes, really, that when she found a way to get that Sprint Center and that Kansas City and that live block developed, that just kicked it off. That was the seed, and everything else came from there. And so, like I said, to see so many apartment buildings and to realize how many of those old vacant buildings that were there are now vibrant, alive, condos and lofts and all that, that's what's really made it be a solid thing. This is not a touristy thing. This is not based on, people coming from out of town. This is based on people have found that urban lifestyle, that walkable thing,
That's true.
It's a beautiful thing. So.
Yeah, my son actually moved downtown. My son lives Crossroads, one of my sons, and he loves it. He has a car, but he really doesn't drive it because he's able to get on a streetcar and get to everywhere he needs. It's and I think that is for, especially because things are so expensive now in terms of housing, that if you can cut your living costs and expenses by not having to have a car and all those things, it actually makes it a more affordable way to live.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
My people, my people, my people, it's your boy Big Jax, and as y'all know, I gets down on the grill, and I know what good food is, and man, I got some heat for y'all. I can tell you where the best burgers, wings, barbecue, or really anything in the city. But let me tell you about the best hot dog in the city. KC Hot Dog King is not only a sponsor of the KC Juice podcast, but by far the best glizzy you can find in KC. So much so, they guarantee the best glizzy or your money back. So for all my people planning events and looking for a great catering option that everybody will enjoy, don't look any further than KC Hot Dog King. voted best hot dog by the Kansas City Star 2 years in a row. From weddings to pool parties, they will cater it all. Follow them at KC Hot Dog King on Facebook, IG, and TikTok. And if you want to book them, call them at 816-287-1583 or shoot them an email at kchotdogking@gmail.com. Tell them Big Jax and the Juice sent you. Big love to KC Hot Dog King for holding us down with the best glizzies in the city. As a representative here for the City Council in Kansas City, there are obviously so many issues on the table still for the city. One of the things that I'm really curious about, is our houseless population. And, it's such a conundrum, really. We went to LA and there are people living on the street everywhere. And it's like, what do we do? What's the solution? What's that combination, it's not a simple issue. There's so many intricacies involved in making that work. Like, what are some things that you see in your vision for that in Kansas City?
So I tell you what, I am one who is not afraid to tackle a challenge and tackle tough issues. And so in my first term, I was proud to be able to chair the mayor's Houseless Task Force. And we worked for about 1.5 years, 2 years doing a community needs assessment, looking at what were the reasons why people were becoming homeless. Obviously, we know, the pandemic really made a huge impact on many people's lives. We know we have an affordable housing crisis across the country. We don't have enough housing that people can afford to live in. And, and there's a multitude of different things. Unfortunately, we know that we're seeing more individuals with mental illness, with substance use disorder, which also plays a role in that. But I think one of the things that people don't understand, or that people automatically assume, is that, it's people's using substances that cause their homelessness. And one of the things that I learned in my work with all of these experts that are doing the work in the community, these nonprofit organizations that are doing the great work, is that when an individual or family or individual is homeless, it becomes homeless, that the trauma that they experience from being homeless, having to stay up, not knowing where you're going to sleep, not knowing how you're going to eat, all of those things is so traumatic to them that they eventually, within 6 months or more, will become mentally ill, will start to have mental illness. Many times because they have to stay up, because they're out on the streets, because they're trying to protect their belongings or themselves. They resort to taking medications or, whatever they can to keep them awake. And so all of that really causes, just the trauma causes that. And so in our work, my work as chair of the Houseless Task Force, we really looked at all of those situations and came up with a 5-year plan, a strategy for how we can get to what's called functional zero. So the plan is called Zero KC. It's built off of a program called Built for Zero. And the goal is to get to functional zero. And what that means is that you don't have any more people entering homeless than those who are exiting homeless. So meaning when a person gets housed, they get permanently housed, we don't have any additional people entering homelessness. We know that there will always have homelessness, but you get to a balance of what they call functional zero. And that is the goal of that plan. Well, there's 5 different pillars. There's multiple strategies and action items that were outlined by the experts, by people that are doing this work in Kansas City. And I'm happy to say that even though you see a lot of people on our streets, and we know that we have encampments, that we do have strategies in place that are helping to permanently house people. Where we're stuck is we need more housing. We need more affordable housing to allow a place for these individuals to go. And you asked me when we first started, you asked me about my church. So I'm a member of St. James United Methodist Church. And I mention them now because we started a thing called Hydration Station or Hydration Nation. And ultimately what they are doing is, our church is connecting people with God in practical ways. In the hot summer like this, we know that we lose a lot of our unhoused people because they become dehydrated. And so our church is collecting donations of water, and they are putting together backpacks of essential supplies and hydration type, those liquid IVs and all of those types of things that you can put in water, and are distributing them to the unhoused throughout Kansas City, while they're also trying to connect them to the services that will help them to get housed.
Wow.
Does that homeless problem make your crime rate go up?
So, I think that there's some truth to that. What we're finding, especially you mentioned downtown, so some of the complaints that we're hearing from some of our businesses are that some of the unhoused folks there are, doing, some petty theft. They're trying to, eat and survive. That's right. And so we have a lot of shelters that are kind of in that downtown area. So there is a higher percentage of unhoused folks that are in that area because that's where the services are. And I know that some of the business executives in downtown Kansas City have expressed concern about that and wanting to try to provide services and resources to them. So one of the strategies that we put in place with this houseless zero KC plan through the houseless strategy is we created a division called Houseless Solutions, where we now have 4 staff that are actually working every day to address issues of homelessness here in Kansas City. Prior to me leading this committee, this task force, we didn't have that in place at all. The city wasn't really even focused on homelessness at all. So now that's something that has been in place for about 3 years, and we are, moving forward with implementing the different aspects of the plan. And I'm excited to say, just last week, the council appropriated $7.1 million to create a low barrier shelter in Kansas City. And what low barrier means is many of our shelters have some sort of a requirement. Say if, some of those that are religious based require that you have to to go to some kind of a church service, or you can't be using any drugs, or you have to be have gone through detox. Some of them require that you can't have a pet, an animal, and a lot of our unhoused folks have pets. They have dogs, and if a shelter can't allow their animal in, they won't go into a shelter. And so having a low barrier shelter will allow more people access to house or to shelter to get them off the streets.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And I think that's a real interesting question, because I think there's a huge perception that is the case, that a lot of homeless people create crime. Mm-hmm. But then when we look about crime, and that was kind of going in my next direction, when you look at crime across the city, a lot of it's not anybody that's houseless that's creating that crime. And so that's another issue that we here in Kansas City have got to be able to get our hands around, is the crime issue. I'm a person who always finds it interesting how much we put on the police department to stop crime. Right. When in reality, that's not what police do. Police are there to help victims of crime hopefully find a way to get some sort of justice, and to try to protect the people, but that's almost impossible in terms of them stopping crime, because it's too random, it's too many people. So there have got to be other things that we've got to put in place to help decrease the crime rate in Kansas City.
I agree wholeheartedly. So when I talk with anybody, I don't care what corner of Kansas City you're in, or really anywhere, the one thing that they talk about is they want a safe neighborhood. They want to feel safe. Everybody wants to be safe. And so, you know, I've done a lot of work. Like I said, I'm not afraid to take on big things. And we know Kansas City has a huge issue with our homicides. We know in 2023, we had our highest homicides at 182 homicides. And, you know, unfortunately, I mean, that's, you know, I mean, one is too many, you know, because that's somebody's baby, that's somebody's son, daughter, aunt, uncle, mom, dad, you know, that it's not just a number, that's somebody's loved one.
Yeah.
And I was honored to be the lead and create a $30 million fund for violence prevention, because one of the things we know is you can't arrest your way out of that issue. You can't, you know, while we continue to support our police and continue to increase the dollars for our police department, you can't arrest your way out of that. We have to go and address the root causes.
Yes.
Why are people committing the crimes in the first place? Why are we seeing all of our loved ones, our young folks being shot? I mean, and unfortunately, these ages, they're getting younger and younger. And so, you know, the violence prevention space, in this violence prevention space, we are working with this $30 million to support community-based programs that are creating activities for our youth, you know, giving them access to jobs, giving them access to internship programs and things that will help them to see a different life. And, you know, unfortunately, the other thing that we know about the homicides that have been happening in Kansas City is a lot of them are based on people arguing that they can't figure out how to walk away, that they get upset and they pull out their guns and they start shooting. And I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I know it's a large percentage of them are due to conflict. And so we are now trying to do conflict resolution trainings. We're doing programs in the neighborhoods, trying to equip people with the skills to be able to help people learn to walk away. Yeah, so, you know, we have seen some improvement in the targeted areas that we're focusing on. And I just have to give props to an organization called KC Common Good, who several years ago started researching Omaha, and I was fortunate, I guess it's been almost 3 to 4 years ago now, had an opportunity where they took 35 of us to Omaha to a conference to see what they were doing. Now, just so you know, Omaha is a similar size population as Kansas City, but they spend $100 million less a year on their police department than what Kansas City does. And they have created these community-based programs. And just so you know, that they used to have homicide rates and crime rates like Kansas City, but now that when in the year that we had 182 homicides, they had 29.
Wow.
29.
Wow.
So it shows me, it was there in Omaha. It showed me that we can do it if we work together and we, you know, create programs and provide funding and opportunity like what they did in Omaha, that we could address our violence in Kansas City. And it gave me hope that we can do it. And so that was actually what really gave me the idea to work on this $30 million for violence prevention. So $6 million a year for the next 5 years, or it was at that time. So we're a couple years in now. To fund violence prevention programs and intervention programs to really address the root causes of why people are committing crime in the first place. And I'm excited that, you know, when you look at the data from the police chief, that we are seeing some success in the areas that, you know, we've been targeting. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Because I hope, and this is not me, this is me, not you, but the proliferations of guns in our society, I have to think, you know, I know guns don't kill people, people kill people, but if, like you said, everybody that gets into an argument, everybody's strapped.
Yeah.
Like that event that we had at the parade a couple years ago, apparently, from what I understand, these are groups of people who didn't even know each other. There was no previous beef or anything. Somebody did something that I didn't like, and we all shooting, and that cannot be good for our society. and I know how we as Americans and the Second Amendment and how we protect our guns. And that's not just a conservative or a Republican. That's not just that. There are a lot of people in this country who protect their guns. But I just wish that we could find a better way to protect ourselves and deal with the violence. And like you said, if we can continue to find ways to get programs in place, especially with these young people, because to me, that's the only way we have a chance. You've got to start people when they're young in the mindset of conflict resolution that doesn't involve violence.
Right.
You know, that's hugely important for us. And so,
I was going to say, but I will give you guys this. Going from a city that had never seen anything of the likes of what we've had happen in the past 5-6 years with these massive crowds, you guys have done an awesome job.
Thank you.
You really have. I mean, I could only imagine what it's like to plan for 500,000 to 1 million people to come to one area and there not be one problem, no less, things you cannot control.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about some guy that gets mad at another guy and just takes off shooting at him, right in the middle of the 500,000 people. What do you do?
Yeah,
there's no one to really blame for that,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into that, trying to keep everybody safe. But I'll say we've learned from that and, always look for opportunities to improve. And I think moving forward, when the Chiefs go back and win the Super Bowl this year, it's a new season now. We'll be ready next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what is it like representing the #1 city in America for football? The biggest sport.
Yeah, I tell you what, we walk around with our chest stuck out. We are proud. As I said, have an opportunity to represent Kansas City, many of our National League of Cities. I serve on multiple boards, and I'm always proud to brag about my
Kansas City.
Matter of fact, actually, they call me Kansas City. They call me Kansas City. It's an honor. And the other thing too, especially being a woman, a former athlete as a woman, we are also really proud of our KC Current Stadium, the soccer stadium, the only soccer stadium purpose-built for women in the world.
Wow.
So as I said, I have had an opportunity to represent Kansas City over in China, over in Africa, Portugal, and to brag and talk about our KC Current team, which is an awesome team. They are an excellent team.
They're good.
Yeah, they're very good. And to brag about that is definitely something that I take pride in.
Wow. And that's something that it's funny. A lot of people, and we'll talk about as we continue about the World Cup that's coming this next year. A lot of people were surprised that Kansas City was able to be included in that process, and I think that we have shown through the soccer fans here, and then because of that stadium, when you say this is the only women's professional sports venue built specifically for women's sports in the whole country, that is huge. And it says a lot about the people of Kansas City and about the environment here. Hey everybody, it's your boy Big Jax. Man, I want to thank every single one of y'all for coming along this ride and jumping in this KC Juice with us, becoming part of this KC Juice family. Make sure you go and subscribe, and drop any comments down below. We appreciate every person out there checking us out. And we definitely got to give shouts out to the Chop Shop, where we have the official KC Juice merchandise. Man, y'all go and get this new merch. Go to chopshopkc.com. That's chopshopkc.com. Pick up all your official KC Juice merch. Shouts out to the Chop Shop. They got the best embroidery, screen printing, signs, banners, graphics, anything you need. They're the ones that hook you up. chopshopkc.com. Once again, we thank you for your sponsorship. Thank you for all your love. It's your boy Big Jax. Peace. Let's talk about World Cup. How exciting is that, and what are some of the challenges that you're looking at right now as we are getting ready for that? Because I know there are some challenges on the table for sure.
Well, so definitely I want to give props to the team that really worked to bring this to Kansas City. It happened, some years ago. And the truth is that Kansas City would not have qualified for that if we weren't working collaboratively as a region. As we sit here today, we are actually recording this in Kansas City, Kansas,
right.
And it took, it took the partnership of our region working together to create an application that was so powerful that the FIFA World Cup team looked at Kansas City and selected Kansas City. So that's the first thing, I think, talking about the strength of our region when we work together. But, as we look at, we're less than a year out now from the World Cup. And some of the priorities that, we've really already talked about them. Public safety. We know that over the course of that 5 to 6 weeks, that we will have about, over 500,000 people, additional 500,000 people that will come to this region. So public safety is key. The other thing is transportation. We've got to be able to get these people around our city because we want them to be able to experience all that our region has to offer. So we have, the team has ordered, I think it's 300 extra buses to be able to utilize during that time frame to move people back and forth. And like I said, the public safety is key. So they are putting together the strategies now for how that will look. Now, one thing that's near and dear to me as a small business owner myself also is making sure that our small businesses, our local businesses, have an opportunity to really capitalize on some of the revenues that we're expecting to come. We want them to come to this region and spend a ton of money.
Yes.
We want them to come and leave all their cash here.
Yes.
And to do that, we're really working to try to create opportunities to make sure that our local and small businesses are geared up and ready to be able to receive all of the potential revenues here. So there's a lot of meetings and trainings that are occurring across the city now, working with our chambers, the area chambers of commerce, so that they can prepare their businesses for what's to come.
And I know that there is a huge concentration. I know right now I was just reading about a program specifically from the city that is designed to get more vendors or more businesses involved in 18th and Vine, for instance, as a way to give them that face, because hopefully that's going to be one of those areas that a lot of people are going to go visit because that's such a historic part of the city, and they want to have small business. We want to have small businesses available to those people and have that be something that they can take advantage of. So those type of programs are going to be big in order to see some business that can develop and benefit from all the people that'll be here. That's going to be huge for us,
That's right. Yeah, definitely. We want them, when they come to Kansas City, we want them to have the best experience possible, and that means making sure that our vacant store fronts are filled, and that they have an opportunity to experience all the creativity and the business that Kansas City has to offer.
Well, I'll tell you what, if y'all giving out stores, I'll take one downtown. I'll do that for you.
You'll take one.
Also, I wanted to say, too, it has been like it's the greatest thing to ride through downtown, and that road's so smooth. I'm like, I'm again proud of my little city. I'm seeing it grow, and I see what y'all are doing, and that's very commendable. So
thank you.
This is why we have KC Juice. That's why this podcast exists, because in my opinion and my feeling is that this city is just continuing to explode. This has been the most explosive thing in my lifetime here. Not World Cup, just the last 20 years to see where we've come from and to know that momentum is continuing. And so that's why I call it a KC themed podcast, because I'm glad that we can come and show the type of people that are here in Kansas City and be very proud of that, and the impact that those people have not only here in the city but around the world. And like you just said, having having been able to represent us in China and all these places around the world, that's why we want you here, because I want to highlight people like you that are such a great face for the city, that present us in such a wonderful way. And so that's why KC Juice is KC Juice.
Yeah,
that's right. So I guess the other thing, like you said, is part of the World Cup process. Public safety, transportation is going to be important. Speaking of that, shouts out to my man Jason Sims, who's over transportation for the World Cup committee. But shouts out to Tech Nine, who's got the official song for the World Cup. And when you consider the fact that the cities that are going to be hosting World Cup events, it's not. We're talking about LA, we're talking about Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, New York, like the biggest cities in this country, and us.
And Kansas City.
So that puts us on that
stage.
level. On the world stage. So I guess the next thing I would say to you is you're running for mayor.
That's right.
Congratulations.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How excited are you for that challenge?
I'm excited. I'm you know what? I have been gearing up for it, and I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I believe I've been able to accomplish a lot of things working on the council, but I still got more work to do. And I will complete the end of my second term in 2027 when Mayor Lucas terms out. And in order for me to continue doing the work, I got to run for mayor. So I believe I'll make a good one.
Absolutely. What do you feel like right now are your maybe top priorities as mayor? If we just said you're mayor today,
I'm mayor.
What would be the, like they talk about with presidents, that first 100 days, what would be the first things that you would really go out and attack?
Well, I tell you, so I believe in really moving now. So I'm in the space now, so I am really starting to put things in place, because why wait? If I see that there's an opportunity and a need, why wait 2 years? When I have talked out in the community, I've talked with our business leaders, I've talked with the community, neighborhood leaders, and one of the things that they expressed is the need. Obviously, when we talked about it, public safety is top of mind for everybody. Everybody wants safe, thriving neighborhoods. In order to do that, we need some things that we need to put in place, legislation put in place to ensure that we can continue to improve the safety of our city. We need better access to workforce development programs, because what we're finding is we have development companies, there's development that is happening in Kansas City, but unfortunately I'm talking to developers who say that they're having to bring in staff from other cities, other states to be able to do the work because, while there are workforce development programs and apprenticeship programs, some of our people are struggling to meet the qualifications for those programs. So I actually have already introduced legislation to create a comprehensive workforce development strategic plan for the city, something that we've never had in place before. But I would love to lead Kansas City through our next phase of growth. Housing, we've talked about the need for additional housing. We need to have cranes moving in the air. We need development and redevelopment. We need to preserve the housing that we have in Kansas City. So those will be the things that I will focus on, in addition to making sure we get the basics right. You talked about how smooth the roads are, but I can tell you, we still get complaints about potholes.
Absolutely.
Even though we spent a significant amount of money over in my terms, we have spent a significant amount of money trying to improve and resurface roads. In the last several years, we've resurfaced 25% of Kansas City's roads, which is huge because we hadn't done this much aggressively. The council, mayor and council, we all appropriated additional dollars every year to ensure that that happens. But Kansas City has a lot of roads. We're a huge city, a lot of streets, a lot of 318 square miles, I believe is the number. And so we have a lot of road that we still need to resurface. So continuing to do that and making sure that, we can really sustain our infrastructure that we have and maintain that is important.
Yeah, we are a huge car culture.
Yes.
Yeah, we see that changing somewhat with what's going on downtown. And shout out to the streetcar for sure and the impact that it's making. But like you said, there's still a lot of street area to cover, and that's an issue that, of course, people here because of the type of weather that we deal with. That's going to always be an issue. Like, even no matter how much you do this year, it's going to be an issue again next spring when that snow and thaw and snow and thaw it keeps happening.
Right.
That's KC for you. So that's always going to be an issue. But how can people get in contact with you, and if they are interested in helping you as you campaign for mayor? How can they get involved with the campaign?
I appreciate that. They can get more information on my website, which is my name, RyanaParks-Shaw.com. It's RyanaParks-Shaw.com. And they can sign up to host a fundraiser, host a meet and greet, or volunteer. We need it all. So, I think this campaign will be driven off of the people working together, and it's that collaborative approach, which is what will move me forward and allow me to be a successful mayor in Kansas City in 2027.
Well, we got your back because, we got that relationship, and we would love to be so proud to be able to say that we had the mayor of Kansas City.
Yes.
Right up here with us right here.
That's right.
Future mayor.
We definitely are looking forward to that.
Yes.
And I very much appreciate you and taking your time to come and hang out with us here in the Juice, because I know how busy you are doing all the things that you do. I see you, and I want you to know I see you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate you.
And I'm watching now.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right.
So again, you guys make sure you go out, check out Ryana Parks-Shaw online, as well as check out this KC Juice.
Yeah.
Remember, I need you to subscribe, I need you to like, I need you to comment, and make sure you help push us through as well. Heathen, man.
Yes, sir.
Another good spot, bro.
I think so.
Yes, sir. Ryana, thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
and hanging out with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Once again, this is that KC Juice. You guys remember, as I always say, in the words of the great Dad Vaughn, love makes the difference.
Yes, it
it's your
does.
boy Big Jax. We are out.
Peace.
KC